now leave the floor to the Professor Matteo Ingaramo, who is the Scientific Director of the Master.
Thank you, Federica. Good evening to everyone, to everyone that is in Italy, the rest, good evening, good morning, whatever, I mean. Welcome to this presentation. As you can see there, we are going to talk about our specializing master in industrial design, engineering, and innovation. So actually, the first three elements that I wanted to talk about are the main goals about these masters that are quite clear. We want to train expert designers able to develop an industrial product, and in all of its stages and through the complexity of a value chain that is not only based on economic value or usability or experience, but also about processes that are becoming more complex every day. And those processes are impacting and affecting a lot the quality of the products nowadays. So we need designers able to conceive a product, but also to manage the complexity of its development through a complex organization like a manufacturing company, and negotiating the performances and the technical aspects. The professional outcomes of these masters are about even an expert in product design. And that means that our student could be able to design, but also to manage the development process, or both. So it's not only about being designers, but also being able to create products through the different disciplines that are involved in that. So it comes out quite clear that the designers could be even able to manage all the value chain and be also, let's say, the product manager, the process manager, or a CEO of a company. So, but in order to get those abilities and these skills, we need a strong framework in methodology. And that's the second important tool that comes from our school, that is not only about information and knowledge about processes, development of the products, integration of design in the other competencies of a company, but also about being able to front any kind of design, any kind of product with a solid methodologic framework that let our designers be very autonomous in any case that is proposed to them. We believe that a multidisciplinary approach is very, very important. So we don't deal only with technologies, but also with all the humanities and the economical framework that is surrounding the design process. We consider the design activity as a multidisciplinary activity that is not only based on the abilities of designers or, let's say, engineers, but also about deciding, planning, being strategically connected to the main need of a company and strictly connected to the users that are the final destination of any product. So that will be our, let's say, cultural framework. But let me say also and introduce the fact that we are going to run a collaborative teaching process in which we are not vertically teaching to our students, but involving our students in discussing their actual skills and improving those skills and enhancing their abilities through some challenges that will be active learning based. So learning by doing, actually. Becoming an industrial designer today, or better to say a product designer, means to be related to a very large range of manufacturing process and company typologies. There are so much company types and production systems that we should have a very broad vision of that, and that's very typical of our institution. Politecnico di Milano is one of the largest institutions about product design, engineering, and our touch point with the manufacturing processes and the manufacturing world in general are very, very high, and we want to disprove this polytechnicality that is the DNA of our university. So that's why we included engineering as a discipline that is really collaborating with the creativity in order to get the most reliable design and solution that we can, and we want our students to be involved in that polytechnical culture, touching with their own experience this value. Our teaching modules are 11, and they are organized in areas, and they are, let's say, integrated in a process of teaching of collaborative, as I told you, that are the workshops. Actually, we have 3 workshops, and we will see them a little bit deeper in the next charts. And they are always based on the collaboration with companies and the or simulation of a collaboration in a company. That is why we want to teach to future professionals or to teach to professionals. And we want to consider the design as an activity that is a profession. So that simulation is not only about having real commitments, okay, and being engaged in a real framework of work, but also managing the design process as a part of our profession in terms of time, in terms of quality of the deliveries, and in terms of agenda, intellectual agenda that we need to set up when we deal with a semi-complex or a middle complexity design process. Stage. The internship phase is very, very important. We believe that that is not only mandatory, but it's a strong choice of our master to push our students to be part of a professional experience that makes fully part of the teaching activity. So we do not definitely consider the internship as a placement phase, but we consider it as the last learning phase in which we want our students to disprove that opportunity as a learning phase in order to complete the teaching experience, the learning experience, and have the widest range of contribution that we can deliver. So remember that you get 60 ECTS at the end of these masters that are provided by the Italian university system, but they are equivalent to the 60 ECTS that are the European credit system. Our master will begin in November 22 and of 2021, so this year in November 22nd, and we will deliver 480 hours, 480 hours of teaching activities, including the design workshops, and you will have more than 300 hours of internship to do. In total, the master course is delivered in 12 months. That is given by the rectoral decree of the University of Politecnico of Milano, and POLI.design is managing it in the time that is given by the rectoral decree. As you can see there, from November to May of the 22, we will have November 21st and May 22. We will have the theory classes and the first workshop. Then in the springtime of 2022, we will have the final phase that will be more active learning and learning by doing, and we will have the workshop, the third workshop, and what we call the product development lab. That is about having a partner that is a company partner that will give us to a redesign of some of their catalog products, and we will try to go deeper into the development and delivering technical details and the general feasibility of the product and the industrialization and the engineering process that is needed to go for a professional delivery to a company that is a manufacturing company. From June 2020, go back, just thank you so much. From June 2022 to the end of the year 2022, we will have the internship and the project or the project work that you will be asked to follow or deliver. Then the final exam will be within February 2023. Within, it means that we will set up a date that is compatible with all the internship process, and we will ask you to come or to be connected, fortunately or unfortunately, according to the pandemic, for the final exam. Totally 12 months of availability and engagement that are not all months of work, but you will be asked to be enrolled in the mastering for those 12 months. Please. So, as I was saying, we have 3 workshops. The first workshop is more about getting in touch in the first touch with the medium complexity products. What we consider medium complexity products. Let's say that low complexity product could be a glass of water, just one material, one technique of productions, and one part. A high complexity product could be a car that has more than 17,000 parts made of different processes with different technologies, and each one of them is made of a huge amount of assembly, subassembly, and subassembly that make them complex in terms of competence and in terms of management of the product. Middle complexity products are products on which we can trust on an average, let's say, technical competence and a layout of the product that is manageable in a compact time of work. So you have some samples there about small household appliances that are health products, beauty products, or that could be involved in that exercise. Here you will be asked also to deal with the usability of the product and the main general aesthetical configuration of the product. In order to get in touch with the market, have a clear framework of reference about user experience and create a layout of the product that our student can manage with their own competencies. Here you have the first element of the, please, you can go to the next. That's another example about products that are managed by our students, and they are mixed between technologies and services and so on. So the point is that we try to transform our students in autonomous professionals. So the faculty will help the students, the candidates, to be autonomous in the process. And here it's also not only a matter of competence, but also a matter of methodologies. The second workshop is redesigning existing products that are that are on the market with a brand. Just to say which kind of pattern could we have. In the last 6 years, we collaborated with Electrolux. It is one of the main producers of household appliances, and now we are collaborating with Philips of Eindhoven, and Philips is giving us a lot of different briefs, not only about household appliances, but also about healthcare and so on. So there you will have the workshop 2 that would be about redesigning the product. Then connected to that, you will have a product development lab that will in which you will be in charge to develop the product in a feasible way in terms of production, industrialization, and put on the market. So you can see some of the products that we delivered in those times that were disclosed by Electrolux. Please go on. That's an air fryer. That's one of the products that are bestseller all over the world, not so much in Europe, but in South America, for instance, they are very, very common. They are coming common in China and so on. So the third workshop will be about dealing with the technologies that are the additive technologies. We will work with briefs that will be realized in 3D printing, and we will have 3D printing machines, and we will design for that kind of technologies. You know that 3D printing machines are for making prototypes, but also for very small batch size of production. So we consider it, and we do consider that softwares and methodology of design for additive manufacture are mandatory for contemporary skill for a in product designer and engineer. Next, please. Some examples about producing, even if they are simple products, they are made for that kind of technologies. Please, next. Let's see here the machines and so on. So the final examination will be based on the learning experience during the master, but strongly based on the final experience of learning during the internship. So that is why the faculty will be engaged in a choice of each one of our students that is corresponding to the profile of the students, trying to select the best experience for every single student that is participating. That is why we want the students to accept that challenge in order to complete their qualities, and not only to select the most, let's say, preferred field in which they would like to work, because the job comes after the master, and the placement will be the consequence of the work process. So as you can see there, final examination will be based on that. We have an evaluation system that is based, like the university system is based on 110 scale, and being aware that you can access to the exam only if you attended to the 70% of the delivered taught hours of our master. So remember that, because if you're out of that percentage, you will be not admitted except of health reasons or other problems that are super contingent and very, very hard to solve, like pandemic, for instance. It was a problem. But let me say that during the pandemic, all our students were able to attend much more than 70% of the hours. So if it's possible for them, it will be possible, I think, in the future. Why we are so strict in that and so rigid? Because the collaborative teaching experience and learning experience are the method in which we trust more. So being present or being, let's say, even if you are in remote, participating and being there in the learning process is very, very important for us. Next, please. Final chart about the requirements. I will leave the floor to Elisa, but about that, because you will have some information that about how being admitted and the tuition fees and the formal requirements for being admitted to our master. But let me say that what we consider very, very important in our master is that our commitment and the reason why we are delivering this master since a lot of time is that expert product designers able to transfer the quality of the Italian design approach to a super evolved and let's say complex production field is very, very important. We would like to have Italian designers that are not Italian, if you want, coming from all over the world, and try to keep the quality of the usability, experience, and aesthetics, okay, but feasible and acceptable by the company. Companies are always scared about creatives because they are jumping into the process and putting into the process something that the company has to develop with a lot of problems because of the weakness of the technical proposal of the creative people. We want to change this situation and have strong creatives able to drive their creativity into the development process and preserve the quality of their ideas in order to deliver them to the users. It's too often that let's say the sense of the product and their quality is not transferred fully to the users because of that gap of reciprocal understanding between industries, companies, and designers. So we know that that is a plus if you are able to transfer all the value to the user through the production processes. So, and we would like to transfer that value to you if you will attend, and we will be very, very happy if you will, of course, and try with your own experience that makes a real difference in the designer profession. Thank you very much for listening to me. Very open for any question. It's a short time of presentation, of course, but I really hope that you will attend the master. Please, Elisa, I leave you the floor about the three main elements of the admission. Thank you.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Elisa Piccini, and I'm from the Education Office of POLI.design. So here, as Professor Ingaramu was saying, I would like to give you some details about the selection and the admission process for the master. Mainly here you may find the link that will lead you to the web page of the master, in which you will find the apply button on which you will have to click, and it will lead you to a form that we will ask you to fill with some personal data. And there you will also have some documents to be uploaded. In particular, here you have the list. You will be required to upload on the web page your CV, a motivation letter specifying the reason in which why you are interested in the master, and a portfolio of projects, in particular if you have a background in design or architecture. And then you will have to upload as well a scanning of your ID card or passport, a scanning of your bachelor degree, and a scanning of your university transcript. mainly because you may find here the admission requirement is to have achieved at least a bachelor degree. So mainly the process of selection will go through two different paths. So mainly when we will receive all the documents from you, we will fix a date for the selection interview with the master board taking place online as a general rule through a platform or through Skype. And at the same time, your formal requirement will be evaluated by the proper office of Politecnico di Milano that is in charge for the evaluation of foreign degrees. And at the end, let's say, of these two evaluations, you will be provided with a final feedback about your selection. So in case you will be considered eligible for the master itself, you will receive the feedback with all the instructions to proceed with the enrollment and to fix your place in the next edition of the master. Mainly, the cost of the master is 12,500 euro. In particular, 500 euro are the enrollment and matriculation fee to Politecnico di Milano, whereas the 12,000 euro is the attendance fee. When you will be admitted in the master, you will be required to provide a down payment covering a part of this amount. Mainly here you may find also the deadlines for the application, in particular for students having achieved a bachelor outside Italy. The requirement is to apply within September the 25, 2021, whereas for candidates having an Italian degree, the assessment is easier, let's say, and the deadline is going to be on October the 25. So mainly this difference is due to the fact that, as I was mentioning, there is an extra evaluation for foreign titles, and in case you will be selected and admitted in the master, there are also some extra documents that you will have to provide for the enrollment, and they might be asked to the Italian embassy or consulate, so it might take some time to get them. That's the reason of these two different deadlines. Of course, the selection process has already started, so we generally suggest not to go close to the very last deadline, so that you have time to fix the interview and to arrange, in case you are admitted, to arrange your stay in Milan, your moving to Milan, and mainly all the life aspects that are connected with the participation in the master itself.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Elisa and the Professor Ingaramo for this presentation. And actually, I believe we are ready to answer all of the questions that you might have. I can see, please, Professor.
I'm answering to some of the questions that I could answer in written words. I will read some of them. Santiago is asking, as a foreign student, you could work during the 3 days of basis. Of course you can, but about working, we not involved the school in placement processes during the master. We work on the selection of the company for the internship, but sometimes we have some requests from companies and we publish them on for our students, and you could attend by your own to the offer, the job offer. So could I explain more about internships? Is a very large question. So if you could be more precise, maybe I could answer better than saying other stuff that are very, very general. In which languages does documents need to be? Italian is allowed always in the Italian university masters because of the law, but English language is the best. So if you are Italian, you can deliver them in Italian too, but the master is delivered in English language, so please use English as much as you can. Number of seats for international students. No, they are not specific number of seats, but the majority of our students are coming from abroad. And yes, there are some scholarships that are for excellent students and excellent students coming from abroad. Sometimes it depends by every year, but if they are published on the internet site website, you can apply for them. So about the portfolio working in a company, what to say? I mean, if you are a designer, you're designing the company, your design could make part of the portfolio. Okay, so you show the design activity on the portfolio. If you just want to mention your actual position in the company, just put it into the CV. Okay? If you are not designing in the company, but you are in a role like a project manager that is not, you are not able to show, just put it into the CV. It will be considered, highly considered by the master scientific. It is required a particular English certificate. Actually, no, because we know that if you are in a bachelor process, normally all around the world, sufficient level of English is asked. So we trust on that, but we do some tests about your language level that would be included in the selection process. Normally is just a conversation and comprehension test. It's not a written test. Minimum score required in the bachelor's to be eligible for the master. There is not a minimum score, but we select excellent students. So we don't put a number because it's depending by the average mark of your institution or your university that you're coming from. So it will be a combination between the interview, between your letter of presentation, between your portfolio and your university mark. That's not the only way. We don't have a level of mark below which you're not admitted. Considering the engineering aspect, how many non-practical classes are taught? How many? I'm sorry, but I do not know the number. But the mix between the hours is half-half, let's say. And even if we are in a, let's say, theoretical course, you will be asked to be involved in practical tests. So I feel that it's not easy to say which are the full theory parts, and it depends also by the professor that is involved, and if they have some, let's say, company may be involved because they are patenting a special technology and so on. So could be very, very practical depending on 1 year, and the other year is much more about theory. So not easy to say at all. We love to refresh our teaching contents every year, so it's not easy to say because of that. Does the POLI.design help you to find internships? Of course, we do. We do our best to find an internship. We guarantee an internship to every one of you. We could say that we guarantee more than one option to any one of you, but according to your personal expectations, could be that you don't match. But if you don't match, you will have an internship. If you want to select more, you could propose other opportunities by your own, of course. And that's the lasting question that is not easy to say, but I answer it in some way because there were some other questions about it.
There was a last question in the chat. So from Martin, who was asking if any of the projects are carried out together with companies. You mentioned some in your presentation. Maybe we can just
Yes,
talk a
of
little
course.
bit.
We love to collaborate with companies. Let me say that sometimes we have so much companies that want to come into the master that we propose to our students a kind of parallel experience that is optional, fully optional. So if you have time, you can do it, because we teach only 3 days per week, as you know. So we leave the rest of the week and the weekend for free for our students to have other experiences. Who has got a job could carry on working in the company and having some time extra in order to be on time in their own job. But if you don't, you could be asked to participate in extra activities, and the majority of them are delivered with a company that is asking us to make a workshop, creative workshop, product development workshop, and so on. So companies are welcome; they are a strong part of our teaching process.
Perfect. One last question. I can see that Elisa is already answering about paid internships.
Yes, mainly what I was replying about the payment for the internship is simply that in Italy curricular internships are generally not paid because they are curricular. So mainly since they are addressed to students, the aim of the internship is to let them let students achieve more skills, and that's the reason why the curricular ones are generally not paid. Of course, in many cases, studios and companies decide to give a little refund of the expenses or some stipend, small stipend, but of course they are not, let's say, obliged by the law to do it. In many cases they do. It's not guaranteed because they are not obliged by the law, let's say.
Yeah, they provide sometimes some money in order to pay for your, let's say, your trip to the company for having lunch, this stuff. Please, I don't want to be rude, but I do not like the candidates of a master to make a confusion between a job and an internship. I told you when I was presenting, because we want to be clear in that. An internship is a part of the learning process and is, of course, an opportunity to select a company in which you could be accepted as a worker. Why not? I mean, and that's a strong opportunity, of course, but it's not given. And some of the companies, they do not like to confuse the activity. They want to have internship and then to select the students. Some of the companies that are collaborating in the teaching activities are asking us to select the best students and to make more than one internship. So the internship is also an opportunity to be, let's say, in a competition to be selected. And that is true, but paid internships are not given, are not mandatory because of that, because the university system doesn't want our students to consider the internship as a job placement. Okay, so but we do know that this specializing teaching process is made to making you to provide you opportunities to get a job, maybe a better job than the one respect of what you have now. So we know that, we consider that highly, and we want to help our students to find a job. And if we are asked to place some of our students, we do it. And let me say that in general, the design engineers of our school, in general, from bachelor to specialization masters, are highly required by the companies. So that's something that I would like to say, because I know we are quite proud of it. So we have a high placement of our students. So in general, the design engineering system and is like that. So I have quite a large overview because I'm the chair of the industrial design engineering master of science too. So I'm in charge of both, and I see always every year that our students are highly requested by the companies to get a job, and that's something that that is important. Allow it to work part-time in Italy along with their studies. Why not? Part-time, it means that I told you we teach for 3 days a week, so you are asked to attend 3 days per week, but you have the 75% limit. So if you exceed the number of hours, you can reduce, but you are asked to be in class the 75%.
And the visa as well.
We don't have. We never spoil the workshops. We never, because they could be a selection. But I mentioned some of the companies that we do collaborate with. Some of them will be with us in the next years, and we hope so. And let me say another thing that is very important to me, that the faculty is made by a high percentage of professionals. So the professors that we involve in these masters are professionals. Me too. I am an academic now, but I was a professional. So we want to that approach, and we want you to also to meet the professionals in order to have some reference, not only in knowledge, but also in your professional skill evolution improvement.
Perfect. I really like to thank the Professor Ingaramo and Elisa for staying with us, and all of you for staying connected and for all of your questions. You can find more information on the website. And I also wanted to share with you the link to the open days. Over the next few days, you will find the recording of those presentations. So in case you missed any of the presentation, you will be able to rewatch it over the next few days. And we look forward to seeing you soon over the next couple of days.
If I could end with an information more, guys, we have some outstanding case history about some of our students. They were going out of this master. They were creating their own startup with products that were designed by them even during the master. They won the innovation prize of the president of the Italian Republic, and they are on the market with a startup that is actually was run by our incubator and accelerator of Politecnico. Every year we have a submission about innovative products that are switch to product is the competition that will be granted by Politecnico, and you have a further opportunity in order to deliver your proposal by your own if you want to try the entrepreneurship way to be designer. Why not? So we wait you if you want to select this master and become design experts in a technical way, but also with a strong vision in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.